Today we have a very special guest joining us today. He's the former Ancient Aliens TV host for Tucson, Arizona, as well as the leading UFO investigator in Phoenix, Arizona. He runs a Facebook Live show called Petroglyphs in the Sky. I would call him the king of the petroglyphs and one of the best UFO hunters in the United States.
Jeff Woolwine, the first person to do this.
For the spiral topic, you said, like some people say that it was, for water, and then other people might think that it's like emergent.
That's correct, yeah.
Or a vortex?
Yeah, like a vortex, yeah.
Clearly, the holocron we're seeing, things in the sky as we're seeing now, strange objects, strange lights, if you will. They didn't have video cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record something significant, something to remember in history. They wanted to copy this down so people would understand what had happened here.
Pat and Jeff hiked to the spot where strange petroglyphs have been found. Among the petroglyphs is an image Jeff believes to be significant.
You'll notice this interesting line here. It has a block here, a block here, a block here, and a line. In today's world, what we like to call them is barbells.
Barbell-shaped UFOs, like this one videotaped over Phoenix on January 24, 2005, are well known to modern researchers. It's possible that local tribespeople were inspired to record their own sightings on these very rocks nearly a millennium ago.
Compare Jeff Woolwine's video and the rock drawings, the petroglyphs on South Mountain. There's the crooked snake. Here's his video. He took this picture of an image he says is on the rock. There are a few others.
Let's give a nice insertion welcome to our special guest, Jeff Woolwine.
Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. I'm your host, Jeff Woolwine. Hey, how you guys doing today, man? Great to see you, brother. All right, man. So we got a lot of stuff to show tonight, and a little bit about what we're going to see. We're going to go over petroglyphs like normal, like usual, and there's this one entity that was filmed in California. It kind of looks like a worm, and I filmed mini worms in Phoenix, Arizona, and connected the petroglyphs to these flying worms, flying snakes, Quetzalcoatl, things like that. So we're going to show that video. We're going to talk about it, and there was this UFO, and I don't get a lot of these entities over my apartment complex since I moved, because literally there's an Air Force base literally like in my backyard. I mean, it's only like 5 blocks away from where I live now. So I'm constantly having military jets flying over the apartment complex, and so it really kind of deters these entities from being in the skies where I'm at this point in time. Those of you who have been following me for at least last couple of years knew that when I was living in a different part of an area where there was like no airplane traffic, these things were heavy. I mean, they were coming right up to me, and I was getting great shots of these entities. And but since then, I've moved, and now in 2020, I'm in a different area, and I'm living next to an Air Force base. So I hardly ever get entities in the skies above my apartment until like a couple days ago, and it was a trip. It was like this glowing orb, this silver colorish, like kind of white, bright orb, and my camera battery sucks. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It does not hold the charge, and because I don't make any money from this, I don't make any money from my books. My books that's out there. I don't make any money from the tours that I do. I don't make any money from my UFO videos. And in which a lot of these UFO people out there are selling their UFO videos, for money. I just can't afford right now to get a good camera. So maybe later on, in the future, I'll get a better camera. And so as I'm filming this thing, as I'm getting ready to film, I'm trying to get set in. I'm filming some of it, but of course the damn thing, it's just shaky fucking video all over the place. Pissed me off. By the time I got it set, there goes the battery. But I'm going to show you what I got, and we're gonna go over it slowly, and I'm going to show you some still shots of it. But it was cool. It was really cool that one was right there as usual, like it used to be. Like last year, I was filming so many of them. It was crazy. And then now I moved, and next to this Air Force base, and so I hardly see any. But speaking of which, being next to an Air Force base, they're like practicing like an air show or something. So we're getting these awesome airplanes, these jets flying over the apartment complex. And I went out there and I started filming some. We're gonna show some of that tonight because I thought it was pretty cool. And so yeah, we're gonna there's a spot in here in the show tonight where I actually went up on South Mountain. Now studying the petroglyphs, for 15, 20 years or whatever, understanding the glyphs and understanding the interpretations of what they're saying up there on the lost history of Phoenix. And what's really here in the Valley of the Sun is these petroglyphs has the power to invoke these spirits. Now I have done this many times. This is how I was able to get them out. Going up there on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona, talking. I found 3 spots, 3 petroglyph panels where I can go up there and I can talk to them. And eventually we'll either see him that day, which this video will show, or I'll see him maybe that week. It's like, you go to their house, they're going to come to your house, right? So you go searching them out, they will come search you out, right? So that's basically what's going on here. And so I was the first one to bring this to the UFO community, that not all UFOs are crafts, is technology or little gray guys piloting these things. Each light, each thing that we see in the sky is another living entity, another life form. Now I learned this from studying the rock art and from learning the interpretations of the rock art through a very credible source, a Native American who worked at the Pueblo Indian Art Museum, downtown Phoenix. I had him go up there and teach me the petroglyphs. He was talking about spirals and doorways, and spirits and things like that, So he got me, in tune of what was really here, and in no way did he say spaceships or crafts, and in no way do the petroglyphs depict anything like a spaceship or a craft, but it's talking about these living entities, these living beings, if you will. And so yeah, this is what is really going on here that I discovered back in 2005. I was the first one here in the United States to actually prove that the rock art carved around Phoenix, Arizona is actually UFO sightings to us. It's actually talking about these entities, these creatures, these spirits that we see in the skies today. You know, more investigations. I went over this in my last show, but more investigations I did. I went to the public library downtown Phoenix, and I uncovered this folder, and it talked about the first park ranger of South Mountain in the 1930s up until the late 40s, and he knew about the spirits of the earth and sky from the Native Americans who lived at that time. He told Charles Holbert about the tombs, about the gold tombs that are left on South Mountain, and the stories saying that the Mayans are supposed to come back and reclaim this gold. He was in charge in protecting the tombs. You know, he understood what the mountains, how holy and sacred this mountain was, South Mountain, formerly known as Mount Sepoa. You won't hear that anywhere else. This is what Charles says. First park ranger. I mean, you got to take it from a horse's lips, right? You know, this is a credible source. This is what the first park ranger is saying about Phoenix, Arizona. And he's talking about spirits, dude, of the earth and the sky. You know, in one of his poems, it says, and I quote, "Watch these heels as he has done, and you will see the phantoms too," unquote. Phantoms, spirits, UFOs, entities. So he knew something was there. He did not write claim and write down that he saw something in the sky, but clearly in his journals, the way I studied, you know, his writings, and what he's talking about, yeah, it's my opinion that he knew. He saw the Phoenix lights. He saw these red, orange, amber orbs in the skies, and he understood. He knew that it wasn't spaceships, it wasn't a craft, but it was living entities, right? Living beings. So I found like 3 spots on South Mountain where I can talk to him and we'll see him. And it was very fascinating too because I documented this in 2007. I went up there because, you know, the first couple times, you know, maybe it's a coincidence, you know, you go up there, talk to him, oh my God, you see him, you know. So, but you keep doing it and it keeps happening. I wanted to document it. And that's exactly what I did. I went up there in 2007. And recorded myself talking to the petroglyphs, and lo and behold, as soon as we got off the mountain that day, there comes one across the sky above our heads that day. So we're going to talk about that. So real quick, let's talk about these airplanes, right? Because you know, I'm living behind this Air Force base. I think it's kind of cool. So let's check out some of this footage that I shot. And I thought it was pretty cool. I want to share it with you. This is what I'm seeing over my apartment complex. Pretty crazy, huh? Pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, so we've been seeing a lot of these military jets. And I think, from what I understand, is they're getting ready to do some kind of air show, and they're practicing. You know, it's pretty cool that big jet following those little airplanes. That's an F-22 Raptor. And there he is right there. And, you know, when I went out there, I first was watching them because they're loud. They go over the apartment complex, the apartments, and they're loud as hell, dude. And, you know, I saw this F-22 Raptor, and he came over the apartment complex, and he slowed real down like he was watching me. And then all of a sudden, dude, he gunned it over the apartments, and it set off this car alarm. It was great. So I went back there, and I grabbed my camera, and started filming. Here are some Mustangs. Some Mustangs are going right over my apartment there. I thought that was pretty cool. Right over my apartment. These right here, I believe that, I know one's a Mustang, and one could be a flying tiger. I did see a flying tiger out there in the formations. Here we go. it's pretty cool. It's like I stepped right outside, in the parking lot, and I started filming these airplanes. It's pretty neat to watch, And the news showed a MiG, and I missed the MiG. I wish I would have caught that on film, because I like MiGs. And they showed a MiG, and so I missed it. So here we have on the back the F-22 Raptor, and he's following, I believe it's a Mustang, a P-51 Mustang, and a P-40 Flying Tiger. Yeah, so right in the middle is that Flying Tiger there. And then on the bottom is the Mustang, and the top is the F-22 Raptor. That thing is badass, dude. I was watching that thing, and dude, that thing is bad. It is something. It's very impressive. Here they come, like right over. Look at that. Isn't that great? Didn't know you could have seen an air show on a UFO show, did you? Well, you never know. This is live, and this is my show, and I think this is cool. I'd like to share it with you. So let's watch these airplanes real quick before we get into some petroglyphs and some UFOs, because this is really cool. I really want to show you what this Raptor does, though. Here we go. Watch this crazy shit. Watch what this thing does. He's going straight up, right? Now he's flipping over, and he's headed down. Oh my God, look at that. Is that crazy or what? I thought that was massively impressive. That was really impressive. These flyboys up in the sky, these people that are protecting the United States, you got to give hats off to them, man. They really do a kick-ass job and to protect the country. And I love it. I love it when they do air shows out here. Here he comes. He's coming right back. He's coming right at us now. Here he comes. There he is. Isn't that great? Is that something or what? That is crazy. He is going fast. Look at that. And this is what I get to see from time to time. Instead of, UFOs, these entities, I'm seeing these planes now, and I might get lucky, like we're going to talk, like I'm going to show you. I might see one over the apartment complex, but as long as I'm living next, oh, look at him, he's going right over my apartment, look at that. Pew. As long as I'm living next to this Air Force base, and I'm going to have a hard time, seeing these entities, because these entities aren't going to be around these planes. These planes are just like scaring them away, but for some reason, there was one out there right before me and my wife went out there to go to the grocery store. I always bring my camera with me, but it doesn't do any good if your damn battery is shot to hell. So I'm hoping that I'll get a new camera here soon. My wife and I is going on vacation, so maybe after vacation I'll get a new camera. But here is the F-22 Raptor. Now this was filmed by an HD camera without a viewfinder, because when you're filming these entities in the sky, it's best to use a viewfinder, because then you can really catch him. Look at that thing. He's going right over me. Isn't that great? He flew right over me. And so it's best to use a viewfinder when you're filming these UFOs, because when you're using an open screen, you got the glare of the sun and things like that. So it's really hard to film these UFOs on an open screen window camera. It's unfortunate that most of these newer cameras now has the open screen and don't show and don't have the viewfinder. And the ones that do have the viewfinder are hella expensive. And that really sucks. Because like I said before, I'm not making any money at this. This is all volunteer work. I'm bringing the truth to you. And I want you guys to investigate, what I have done, and I'm not in it, for money or fame or any of that bullshit like most of these sky watchers are doing out here. But I'm doing it because I want to know what the hell's going on, and I found out what was going on, and I'm bringing this information through you, and this is what my book is all about. So we're going to watch these planes just a little bit longer, and then we'll get into some petroglyphs. There's some nice clouds. Here we go. Yeah, so we have two Mustangs on both sides of the end, and then a P-40 Flying Tiger in the middle, and then the F-22 Raptor. So yeah, these things are totally cool. It was totally cool watching them and seeing them. You know, I've been watching them for the last 3-4 days now. You know, this is pretty cool. They turn and they come right over. Look at this. Look, they're coming right at us. Look, here they come. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to watch these things. And me and my wife, we've been to an air show before, and it was her first air show. I've been to a few others, and she loved it. She thought it was awesome. And I highly suggest that if there's an air show in your town, that you go check it out, because these planes are really impressive. And even though I like the new ones, I really like the older World War II planes. I think the best. So, isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Totally kick-ass. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get into some petroglyphs. All right, so this one here. This one is very interesting. Okay, let's examine this petroglyph. Let's take a look at it. So, in studying the rock art, you know, you really have to look at the whole landscape. Okay, so let's start off with this spiral right here. All right, look at this spiral over here on the right. Okay, so do you see that line? You see that line, and it's kind of pointing to that crack, there. You see that crack? See how that spiral is going into that crack? Well, that crack right there is the doorway for these spirits. And this is where they come and go from. So the spiral, let's look at the spiral. The spiral is going clockwise, meaning a doorway in. So this is a doorway in for the spirits, aka UFOs to us. Now you see this ring with all these circulars in the middle there? Now that's not a spiral. You can see that it's not connected together. Okay, you can see it's not connected together. I believe that it's like a pulsating light, like what we're seeing as far as the Phoenix lights and things like that. And so I believe that it's pulsating. And then here we have a man over here to the right. And then up on top, you see that? That is one of those entities. That is like one of those Quetzalcoatls. Okay? That is what a spirit is representing. That's what the artist is trying to tell you. That this spirit entity came out of this doorway. Here we have another one. Okay, so unfortunately we don't know what the background to this petroglyph is. I mean, as far as well, I don't know where this petroglyph was taken. Excuse me. I don't know where this, where the photograph was taken at. And it's too bad. It's too bad that the photographer did not film what was behind this boulder. But one way to interpret the petroglyphs on their meanings is you have to look at the whole landscape. Okay, so look at this entity here. Okay, let's start with the top. Right, so it's one of them like square UFOs that we see in the skies, and he's changing. He's anthropomorphing, what the archaeologist likes to say, anthropomorph. Okay, and he has this line. Now he's got this line coming out from the bottom of him. Okay, and he's growing like these arms and other stuff, and then he's got like another box type UFO to us entity on the bottom. So it's like a barbell, right? And this line connected together. And this is how a lot of people pass off these things. You know, they see these things in the sky, and they see this line coming down from them, and they automatically assume that it's a balloon. Okay? The Native Americans over 1,000 years ago was not carving balloons. Balloons was not there in their time. Okay? So how are they seeing balloons when it wasn't there? Why are they carving what looks like balloons to us? Because they're not balloons. They're not. They're orbs in the sky with these lines that come down, and sometimes they connect together with other orbs or other entities. This one right here is showing like a box type UFO. Those of us who have seen these things in the sky know what I'm talking about. And it's connecting a line down to this other box UFO entity. And I believe that this line has a couple purposes. In watching them and in studying the petroglyphs, I think the line is used, for one, to pick things up, to pick animals up, to pick people up. All right, and also they use this line, just a theory. I mean, I know this is what the petroglyphs show. The petroglyphs have shown the lines picking deers up, picking people up, but also we're seeing these lines connected, as we see here, to another box or type UFO orb in the sky, resembling a barbell formation in the sky. And I think that this line is actually, they're kind of absorbing each other's energy, because this is what they kind of feed on right now. They're attracted to energy spots around the earth, around the world. Fault lines, volcanoes, and man-made energy spots such as nuclear facilities. Okay? So, in looking at this petroglyph, now let's follow it all the way to the bottom. You see those two humps there? You see the two humps? Now I bet you, without even seeing behind this stone, that behind this stone, where this petroglyph is carved at, is two hills. Two hills and a valley. And that's what this artist is trying to say, is that this entity is coming out of the valley of the two hills that's behind this boulder. Because when you look at the petroglyphs, you have to look at the whole landscape. Look at the surrounding area. The artist is telling you, dude, he's putting it in the landscape. It's not just a photograph, not just a prehistoric graffiti, but it is a photograph. It is a photograph of what he saw at the time. They didn't have video cameras or cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record their sightings. So to us, this is a UFO sighting. And the artist is telling us that this UFO entity came out of the two hills, the two hill valley, if you will, because see, it's right in the middle. If he was coming out of one hill, he would be over one hill. But no, this entity is coming out of the valley of two hills, and is probably two pyramids. This is how you understand the petroglyphs. Then we have another entity up on the top there. See that? It's like a snake. It's like a worm, like what we're going to kind of see today that was filmed in California of this year. Now let's go over here to the left. We see these entities over here. So basically, these two humps is the mountain lines, is the mountain behind this rock, behind this boulder here. If you really look at this, it looks like mountains, right? Because they are mountains. And the artist is putting the mountains in with it because it's very significant. Because those mountains is where the spirits come and go from. That is how you look at petroglyphs. Here's another one. Here's a spiral. As you can see, so it's a spiral, and what is he doing? It's a counterclockwise, it's a clockwise going in, and he's ending up on the top of that hill there. You see that? He's ending up there. So behind here, and then we have another entity. You see that guy with the antennas? he's coming out of that doorway. He's coming out of that vortex, if you will. And then if you look closely over here on the right, look very closely above the bush. You see the bush over here on the right? You see those two circles there? See that? That is the lights. That is the orbs that we're seeing in the skies today. And they're coming out of this vortex spiral doorway. And that's what these spirals represent. They represent doorways for the spirits. Some say to the underworld, but I really believe they're going down there to absorb the energy from the fault lines, from the natural energies. This one I photographed on South Mountain. Here's another example. Now let's look at the triangles here. See the triangles? Those are the mountain peaks. I know, I was there. This is like a Holberg's Trail, all right, going west. Okay, so if you keep going west and you look high up on the hill, high up on the mountain wall, you will see this petroglyph, okay? And it's representing a flying serpent over the hills, over the mountains. You see that? It's a big flying worm, flying serpent, flying snake, Quetzalcoatl. You see that? And it's over the pyramid hills of South Mountain. Isn't that amazing? This is what they saw at South Mountain. Not spaceships, but living beings, living entities. These are creatures, man. They're alive. They know who's watching. They know who's not watching. They're intelligent. They've been watching us for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. They've always been here. And in my opinion, this is their home too. This is their world also. Just as the oceanographers are finding new species of life below the oceans, this is a new species of life that's above the oceans that a lot of people, in this field fail to understand. I think in a way, I do think that, there's possibly crafts out there. Don't get me wrong. The scientists have found 7 Earth-like type planets outside of our solar system. And what's to say that there's a race of beings on one of them planets who has the capabilities, who has the technology to build a spaceship to come visit Earth to check it out. Sure, I'm open to that. I'm totally open to that. I have seen 2 things in my lifetime that could resemble a craft. Okay, so there could be craft out there. But what I'm saying is what the majority of the people are seeing that don't understand yet are these orbs, these flying worms, okay, these long cylindrical objects that people think that it's a flying saucer, when actually it's a worm, okay? It's a living entity worm, a flying serpent, a Mexican Quetzalcoatl, just like what we're seeing in Mexico. We're seeing these things in Arizona, and also now I'm getting reports, since I brought this to the attention of the United States, people are just now starting to film these entities in the sky, So it's really cool that they're noticing that, look, this isn't normal, and they're understanding. Most of them are understanding that this isn't a spaceship, that these are living entities, living creatures, and this is what I believe is what we're dealing with here. Now, here is something that I filmed in 2005. This is a diamond. This is a diamond entity. Now, this carving here depicts, see the spirals and the diamond? You see that? You see the 2 spirals? This is what that petroglyph is talking about, right here. This is what is going on. I don't know where this carving is at, but as soon as I saw this, I knew exactly what this was talking about. That is talking about this diamond that I found in 2006. Now, so it's two spirals, right, and they're joined together, all right. And look at that. It's telling us that it's a doorway in and also it's a doorway out. We have one on the left, starting from the left, is going counterclockwise as a doorway in, but it's connecting with the other spiral going counterclockwise. So that is very significant. That is very special. This is a doorway in and out. And what is coming out of this doorway but a diamond? Much what I filmed, exactly what I filmed in 2006. This is what this petroglyph is talking about. You see the other diamonds on the bottom there of the spirals. It is talking about these diamonds. Now, this isn't a spaceship. We're not looking at a craft. We're looking at a living entity, a living creature. This diamond came over South Mountain. I started filming it. It was kind of a cloudy day. This is why, you know, it looks kind of white, because it was a cloudy day that day. So I'm filming it. It's coming straight at me. As soon as it does, as soon as it gets right over my apartment, it goes straight up. Now, is that crazy or what? And then there's many diamond petroglyphs carved on South Mountain. Many of them show them morphing, transforming, anthropomorphing into a man, because they have diamond bodies, but then they start growing heads, they start growing arms and legs and things like this, you know. So it's a diamond entity, and he's morphing into something else. That's why the archaeologist calls these petroglyphs anthropomorphs, because these entities, these diamonds, these orbs, these phoenix lights, not a spaceship, but living entities, are coming and going from the mountains in which the petroglyphs are carved on. Now, not all mountains with petroglyphs are depicting these UFOs, these entities. Some mountains aren't that sacred, aren't that special, if you will. Some mountains with petroglyphs are depicting like dances, like kachinas, like ceremonies. You know, some art does depict a deer eating a flower, things like that. The mountains, the carvings that you want to look for in searching for these entities are mountains with spirals carved on it, and what the archaeologist likes to call anthropomorphs. Now, when you see that, when you see this type of carving, this type of entity, these spirals, this is what you want to look for. Look at all the diamonds over there. Look at the diamonds, man. That is a major, major, major spot where these things come and go from, is where this petroglyph is depicting. Look at that crazy shit, dude. Can you imagine seeing all those diamonds in the sky? You just saw one that I filmed, you know, but can you imagine like 30 or 40 of them out there as this petroglyph is talking about? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But that's what it's telling us here. That is a photograph. It's documenting the doorways where these diamonds come out, and it's documenting. It's a photograph. It's a prehistoric photograph of what is there, what can be seen there. Okay, so we're going to talk about this UFO that I filmed. Me and my wife Pam saw it, and so right before, you know, the battery died on my camera, so I'm going to show you some still photographs here of what I got. And we're gonna slow it down for you too. But before my battery died, I was able to capture these things. And so here it is slowing down. This is I had to slow it down, and just to get a better look at what we're dealing with here. And in some cases, it actually looks like it's morphing into two, and then it goes back into one. And it was there for a long time. We could clearly tell that it wasn't a balloon or anything like that. So sometimes it would brighten. It got really bright, and then it would just kind of dull out, and then it would get bright again, and then it would kind of just like dull out. But this is what we saw over my apartment complex. And this is what you want to kind of look for, is these entities, these white dots, these black dots, a black flying snake, if you will, that we're getting ready to see here in a moment. But this was filmed right outside my door here, right outside my apartment, as we were getting into the car, getting ready to go to the store. And, my battery died, so this is what I got, only a few seconds worth. But we watched it after the battery died. We watched it until it just simply vanished. It disappeared in the sky. This is in slow motion, so we can get a better look at it before I wasn't able to film it anymore. And we're going to show what it looks like. At normal speed, soon as it's done. In slow motion, slowly. Let's get a look at what we're seeing here. Slowly. Well, maybe it's going to be too slow. I don't know. But that was it. There's an orb right above our apartments. And this was like a day or two before the air jets really started flying around. And since then, I haven't seen them back. But yeah, this is what we saw over our apartments, and it was pretty cool. So whenever we get back from vacation, then I'll invest in a better camera, and we'll try to get better footage as much as I see. I mean, I've invested so much money in so many cameras. It's just unreal, dude. But I don't make any money from this. I'm not charging people for my books. So I only have a limited income here, and I can't afford, the high dollar, computer programs or the high dollar, video cameras. Here we go. So this is real time. This is what it looks like. That's what it looked like in real time. So at least I got some of it on camera, just to show what was there. So yeah, okay. So let's take a break, and then we'll go back and we'll take a look at this one black-looking entity, like this worm, and we'll talk about it. And so yeah, I'll be right back.
The Petroglyphsinthesky Ultimate UFO Show with your host, Jeff Woolwine. Pick up your Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Learn about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona. Learn about the petroglyphs carved on a sacred mountain, now known as South Mountain, that holds the path to the Phoenix Lights and the UFOs over Phoenix. Pick up your copy today. Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Find it on eBay, Barnes & Noble, and any source where books are available.
Have been in our skies all along. They've never left us.
We hear from a man who has been marking down UFO sightings, dozens of them, right here in the valley.
This is Arizona's best. Fox 10 News at 9.
I'm Linda Williams.
And I'm Rob Piercy. 97 Phoenix Lights phenomenon. Thousands claim they have seen UFOs over the Sonoran Desert. Tonight, Ramin Khalili has a different twist on this story, and it's coming from a very unexpected place. We're not alone in the universe. They are showing up almost on a daily basis now, almost on a nightly basis. It's really exciting. It's really something to see because it's so unexplained.
And what Jeff Woolwine sees is lights, and lots of them. Alleged UFO sightings peppered across the city map, all marked with push pins, and this, the centerpiece of what he calls UFO Central.
I did come here to try to figure out what these things are.
Jeff moved to Mesa last year from New York City, solely to dive into the mysteries of these lights, the Phoenix Lights. In 1997, this fire in the sky stoked the imagination of thousands of locals.
Wow.
The bug apparently bit Jeff, too. He peeled off these shaky home movie shots of what he says are UFOs. This from 4 months ago over Mesa, two distinct lights that appear to swell and then fade.
Apparently, these things have been in our skies all along. They've never left us. They've just been hiding.
Hiding from Jeff and the others whose ideas get staple guns to UFO Central. You've heard those stories.
There's this beautiful golden light, something I've never seen before.
But you haven't heard this one. This man disguised to tell his UFO tale. He's scared his boss might find out. And that's because he works for a major airline, and his boss would flip over this story. He's a commercial airline pilot, a certified captain who's seen almost everything in the air, except for what he saw in the desert sky last month.
It felt like I froze for 3 to 4 seconds. I couldn't figure out what I was looking at.
He says it kind of looked like this. 6 lights high over Interstate 8 between Gila Bend and Casa Grande, bright and golden, and then the 2 on the east vanish, only to immediately reappear on the west, and then the whole thing flares out.
I really started looking at the lights. I noticed they didn't have any of the FAA-required lighting, navigational lights, beacons, things that you would see on a normal aircraft.
This from a guy with more than a decade of experience in the captain's chair. He says the lights came back on, and then out, and then on again, and finally out for good. All of this in under an hour. Freaky for sure, with a touch of sanity.
You know, as a professional airline pilot, sometimes we see things that we can't explain. And that doesn't mean it's a flying saucer with little green men running around. They're lights.
We told that to Jeff back at his Mesa shrine. Told him that his lights could be just that, just lights.
No. These aren't stars. These things are in the atmosphere.
But he's stubborn with file footage at the ready. This video, part 1 of 31 straight nights of alleged UFO sightings.
It's my opinion that when these lights come in, they're absorbing the ley lines to go back to wherever they come from.
Jeff is sure he's right and backs his points with his wall. It's where the pictures are, the emails, the stacks of tapes next to his Bible. The entire place, a plan to solve this cosmic riddle.
I'm not really out there looking for people to believe me. It was just a neat experience for me.
But our pilot more subdued, even though he still can't explain those lights.
It was enough to make me think, twice.
For Jeff and his multimedia attack on the truth, this one, though, is a real mission.
It's up for the people who are seeing these things to let people know that they're going on, that they're here.
Ramin Khalili, Fox 10 News.
Jeff Woolwine says he's planning to make a documentary based upon his UFO sightings. Authorities officially stated those 1997 Phoenix lights were simply night flares dropped by a National Guard unit.
Weather for the world.
Okay, so thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking with me. So if you like what's going on, check out my website over here to my right here, to the left. And if that's too complicated, just check out petroglyphsinthesky.net. Thanks to my friend Sean, hooked me up on that link there. So petroglyphsinthesky.net. Make sure you find me on YouTube, the Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky. Okay, so make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and that you like it and you share it, because that's going to help the program a lot in getting the information to other people. And so yeah, spread the word. This is really important, and because we really need people to start looking more back at these petroglyphs and start understanding what's going on here, and really, try to understand what the Phoenix Lights are. So I suggest that you go off and you get a copy of my book, Petroglyphs in the Sky, Phoenix Lights, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix. There's tons of photographs, tons of great photographs there, and it talks about the petroglyphs. It shows the petroglyphs. It also talks about the first park ranger. It's actually it goes like a story. I wrote it in such a way that the reader takes a magical type journey through the past, and it talks about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona, and what the petroglyphs say, and what the Phoenix Lights really are from according to the Native Americans, and also what the first park ranger, Charles Holbrook, Charles Holbrook says about these things and what the petroglyphs and the true history of Phoenix, Arizona, because it goes into the giants, man. It talks about the giants, and I show photographs of the tombs that are on South Mountain. So yeah, it's a great book, and you can find it on eBay, Barnes & Noble, and other internet bookstores. You can buy the ebooks. I'm not crazy about the ebooks, because everybody wants a hard copy. You want something in your hand. At least I do anyway. So like and share the video. Find me on Facebook. Contact me on Facebook if you have any UFOs that you would like for me to check out. If I like it, I'll air it on the show. I'll give you credit for it. We'll talk about it. And if you have any petroglyphs that you want me to take a look at, send them to me. Message me. Email me. Let me know what you think about the show. And yeah, so like, follow, smash, do whatever you got to do, but get the word out on the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. So yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the last video of tonight of this flying snake, flying worm. This is what's going on in our skies. Now, this was filmed in California, and the person didn't get back to me in time for the show to talk more about it. But look at the way it moves. Now, look how it stops. See how it stops right there? Look at that. Look how it stops. It stops in the middle of the sky, And then it continues on. Now this is a sign, this shows you this thing is in control. It is not a balloon, okay? It's not a drone. It's not anything to that nature. This is what we're seeing in the skies when it comes to UFOs. This video is credible. I have seen this many times. I have videotaped this many times. The petroglyphs depict this type of thing that we see in the skies today. This is real. Look at this. I was so impressed with this. Look how this thing is moving. It's on a mission. I bet you it's going to a mountain. I bet you it's going to a fault line. I bet you it's going to an energy source. Look at this. Look how it stops. It's going to come up and it's going to stop. Here we go. Boop. Look at that. On a dime, right? Look at that. And then it continues on its way. Look at that. Is that incredible? This is what we are looking for. This is what we need to film. This is what we need to be looking for. Okay? And don't let these things fool you, like many do. Oh, that's just a balloon. Oh, that's just a flare. Okay? The lights in the skies are flares. Bullshit. Flares have smoke. Balloons do not act like they're in control. The wind is carrying them. They're going up into the sky. They're out of control. This thing is alive. This thing is in control. This thing is this thing is on a mission. It knows what it's doing. It knows where it's going. It knows who's watching it, who doesn't, and I bet you it even knew that it was going to be on my show tonight. And this is the reason why he was able to let this guy film him so I would eventually see it and then put it on my show. I bet you anything. These things know one step ahead before we know it. These things know what we're going to do before we do it. Okay? Let's put it that way. These things are very intelligent. And this is what we need to look for. Not CGI crafts. Not a little gray guy running across the field that we can't prove. Not hearsay of a craft. You know, hearsay is crap. Proven credibility is where it's at. When you have something that's carved over 1,000 years ago, depicting exactly what we're seeing in the skies today, that's credible. When you have a park ranger who wrote in his journal about the true history of Phoenix and what the Phoenix lights are, and the Mayans, and the sacrifice that was going on this mountain, and the golds left in the tomb, I could go on. This is credible, not hearsay. Not someone trying to make money off the Phoenix lights, off UFO fake videos. Look at what's credible. Look what's going on here. If you can't get to South Mountain on your own, then I bring it to you in my book. I don't make any money from the book. I told the publishers to give my proceeds to the book to the foster kids here in Phoenix, Arizona. I have not once seen any money, not one dime, from my book. People who buy the book off me directly, it goes somewhere else. I give it to a homeless guy. Gave it to a homeless guy, man. You know, so I'm not out to make money. I don't make money off this. You know, this is why, you know, I have the shit cameras that I do, because I'm not charging my shit, dude. I'm opening up people's eyes, and it's become aware now because of my research back in 2005, being on the UFO Hunter Show, being on the History Channel, being on True TV, bringing my discoveries to the public, saying, look, these are entities, these are alive. People are just now starting to realize this. This is what we need to look for. Don't be fooled by someone trying to sell you a UFO video, trying to sell you movie tickets, trying to sell you a book that talks about nothing. All right? Don't be fooled in all that, man. Look at what's really going on here. Examine the evidence. Isn't that great? Isn't that totally cool? Okay, so I think we're going to shut it down here for now. And make sure that you find my YouTube page. From there, you can find the link to my website, and you can see the link here off to my right, and or off to my left. Things are reversed to me. And if that's too complicated for you, you can check out the you can type in petroglyphsinthesky.net. Look for me on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. It's very important that you follow me on YouTube and you like my videos and you share the videos. Let's get this information out. Smash the like. Follow me. Let me know what's going on. Film these entities. Send them to me somehow. Send me your petroglyphs. Let's talk about UFOs. And another thing, I will be at the Paracon, the Vulture City Paracon in Vulture City in October. I will be leading a sky watching event there. And so make sure you come out. Get your tickets early. Come on out. Let's talk about UFOs and let's try to hunt UFOs. And hopefully we'll see them out there. Because I've heard reports from the people who live out there, they have seen lights around the mountains there. So yeah, it's going to be great. Make sure you find me and you talk to me, and let's talk about UFOs. Okay, until next time, we'll see you guys later, and thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.
Until the next exciting episode, keep your eyes in the skies. You never know what you might see.